All aboard! All aboard the Atlantic coastline!
It's me, it's Marty E. Welcome back if you're a subscriber, and welcome if you're new to the channel. This weekend we will be looking at Lionel TMCC F3 Atlantic Coastline ABA set. The first TMCC engine I've ever owned, and the first TMCC F3 Lionel ever produced. This is product number 6-11903. Now this set has been stored away for about 10 to 12 years. So before we put it on the tracks and get started, we're going to do a little bit of preventative maintenance, make sure the grease is still good, make sure the lubrication is up to snuff, and then we'll put it on the tracks and see what 1996 technology looks like. These are a beautiful set, crisp colors, love the purple paint scheme, and I think you will too. So sit back, relax, and join me as we take a look at this Lionel Classic. Alright, I got the A unit out of the box. We're going to go ahead and take the shell off, disconnect the antenna from the board. We'll set the shell aside. We're going to take the motor off. We're going to look at the grease and see what it looks like, and after that we'll do a full lubrication. So let's go ahead and get that shell off. Alright, I've taken the shell off already, and I disconnected the antenna lead from the shell, or from the main board, so I can set the shell aside. Two Pullmore motors. This also has magnet traction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the motors out of the trucks and make sure that grease is alright. Just looking at the grease, it's not hard. It's kind of soft, so I think we may be all right, but I still want to take a look at it. So real quick, two pickup rollers, again magnet traction. We got an electrocoupler on the front. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the motors off the trucks. So I got the one truck off, and I'm looking at the grease that's still in the unit, and it's soft, it's pliable, seems to be in good shape. So I'm going to assume that the other truck is in the same condition. So I'm going to put this truck back on. I'm going to lubricate the axles, check the grease on the gears on the truck itself. Okay, before I got the truck back on with the motor, I'm going to put a drop of oil on the end of the armature. Just one per the instructions. And now we'll put the shell back on. We'll oil the axles and put just a little bit of grease on the gears. And don't forget, before you put the shell back on, to connect the antenna wire back to the board if you do this. Make sure all your wires are captured inside the shell. So let's go ahead and get those axles oiled and gears greased. Alright, the shell's back on. I'm just going to just put a drop of oil on the axles and get the oil to, there we go. Doesn't need a lot, just needs a little bit. This is where your needle applicator comes in handy. All right, and I'm going to put just a dab of grease onto the gears. Now, I don't like to put a ton of grease on the gear. Excuse me while I bump the tripod. I don't like to put a lot of grease on the gears. I just like to put a little dab here and here and let it work in. We'll put a little dab on that gear, and that will work itself into all the other gears once we run it. So it appears, just by removing a truck, that the grease has withstood the test of time for at least the last 10 years, I think, is the last time I had this out. We just add a little bit of grease to the outside gears on the trucks, add a little oil to the axles, and in reality, should probably just put a little oil on the pickup rollers, although they're rolling pretty free, but just put a dab. Quieted them, got them a little quieter than they were. So this is only a powered A unit. The B unit and the other A unit are both dummies, and the sound is in the B unit. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on the layout. You caught me using the microfiber cloth to clean it up a little bit since they've been in storage. And I also took the time to pull out the manual. You know, after running legacy engines for so long, you kind of forget all the nuances of running a pull-more TMCC motor in an engine. So I set the stall voltage. I won't go into what that is, but the stall voltage for these older engines is basically you're setting the starting voltage that the motor requires to get moving. Just gives it a little bit more performance, a little bit finer performance with the older pull-more motors. Now I set the ID at 42. I set it as diesel type, TMCC rail sounds in my legacy remote. The A unit being the powered unit with the two motors. B unit being the sound unit. There's a volume control right there. And the trailing A has coupler and lighting. This is a beautiful, beautiful engine set. The colors pop. I still remember purchasing this. It was always one of my favorites. I kind of feel bad that I've left it packed away for so long, so we may just have to leave it out on the layout and let it run. So let's go ahead and start her up, and we'll go through some of the few sounds that we have on here. It's not as robust as even later TMCC engines. Has your bell. Has your horn. I love how that horn trails off. All right, we're going to move her out, and you'll see that the performance is not as spectacular as a legacy one, and to be honest with you, the engineer is not used to running a TMCC engine, so we may have a little hiccup to start out, but let's move her out. I guess I got to work on that stall voltage a little bit. Gonna bring the volume down. So as you can see, really cool ABA set from 20 plus years ago, 1996. Beautiful set, beautiful sounds for what it was at the time. Running one of these post-war type engines with the Pullmore motors, you do find some voltage variations around the layout. I see a few that I got to work on. Primarily the 3-inch fast track piece that's in the new catalog may help that, because I think where it's slowing down is where a few pieces are cobbled together to get the right distance that I need it. But anyways, this is about the ACL. Atlantic Coastline ABA F3 from Lionel, 1996. So I hope you enjoyed a look back at a blast from the past, per se. This is the beginning of Lionel's TMCC, one of the earlier TMCC engines. Like I said, the first F3 that TMCC was ever put in. So I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. And there we go. Lights don't go out in the old TMCC engines, they stay on, but a beautiful set. So I hope you enjoyed this look back to the past. The Lionel Atlantic Coastline F3 ABA set with TMCC. The first F3 set Lionel made with TMCC, and my first TMCC set. 20-year-old technology. I think it's holding up quite well. Sure, the sounds aren't as robust. The engine control with the old Pullmore motors isn't quite what we're spoiled with Legacy and DCS, but I think it holds up well. It's a beautiful set. The paint job is amazing. I really like it. And it has that post-war charm that you just don't get out of some of the older stuff. Matter of fact, I may be getting those passenger cars out sooner than I thought I would. I love looking at it. Isn't she a beautiful set? Anyways, if you're a subscriber, thank you very much. I really do appreciate you being here. If you're not, and you've come across this video, I encourage you to subscribe. And of course, I'd appreciate a like on the video. I also encourage you to leave comments. I love reading them, and I try to answer every one of them. You can tell me what you liked about the set, questions about the layout, questions about anything train related. I'd love to answer them. And like I said, I try to answer every one of them. And by the way, I teased the Phantom files earlier this week. We're having some problems procuring and declassifying them, but I promise you we will get to the Phantom files as soon as I can get some of that information pried from the hands it's in. So until next time, again, I appreciate you being here, and thank you.